As February rapidly approaches, a combination of economic upheaval, climate disasters, and supply chain disruptions is poised to send grocery prices skyrocketing. Everyday essentials you rely on may soon become scarce or unaffordable. Here's an urgent look at 8 critical items set to face dramatic price hikes, and why you need to prepare now. Number 1. Dried legumes. The dried legume market is facing unprecedented strain as February 2025 draws near, directly affecting the prices of staples like beans, lentils, and chickpeas. While global legume production has remained steady in recent years, the Food and Agriculture Organization now warns of tightening supply chains driven by soaring demand. Rising consumption, spurred by the growing shift toward plant-based diets and food security concerns, is outpacing availability. According to the International Pulses Council, global reserves of key legumes have dropped by 18%, with the U.S. reporting its lowest stockpile levels in over a decade due to rising fertilizer costs and water shortages in critical farming regions. International markets are also feeling the squeeze. India and Canada, two of the world's largest exporters, have reported reduced harvests following extreme weather events, from prolonged droughts to record-breaking floods. At the same time, export restrictions in countries like Myanmar are worsening global supply constraints. This tightening supply has already driven lentil prices up 30% since mid-2024, and experts predict an additional 50% increase by spring. These pressures are compounded by geopolitical factors and rising transportation costs, further exacerbating shortages. The USDA forecasts a continued rise in food-at-home prices for 2025, with dried legumes taking a significant hit. The affordability of these nutrient-dense, versatile foods, essential for millions of households, is rapidly becoming a pressing issue. As the gap between supply and demand widens, the upward pressure on legume prices is expected to persist, making these staples an increasingly valuable yet scarce commodity. Number 2. Electrolyte mixes. The global market for electrolyte mixes, a staple for hydration and health, is facing growing instability, leading to significant price surges for consumers. Wholesale costs for key ingredients like potassium, magnesium, and sodium have soared by 40% over the past year, driven by supply chain disruptions and escalating raw material shortages. Severe droughts in critical mineral-rich regions, including parts of South America and Asia, have hampered the production of essential salts used in these mixes. Compounding the issue, energy-intensive manufacturing processes are being impacted by surging fuel costs, further driving up production expenses. Adding to the crisis, heightened global demand for electrolyte products, spurred by their use in fitness, medical recovery, and even survival kits, is far outpacing supply. Regulatory changes in Europe aimed at ensuring ingredient transparency and sustainability are forcing producers to revamp their operations, resulting in production delays and tightening inventories. In the US, major brands are already scaling back on bulk offerings, and prices on retail shelves have jumped by 25% since late 2024. Looking ahead, analysts warn that the situation is unlikely to stabilize before mid-2025. The USDA forecasts a broader increase in food and beverage costs, and electrolyte mixes are no exception. With supply chain pressures, raw material shortages, and rising demand all colliding, consumers should brace for further price hikes and limited availability. If these products are part of your routine, now is the time to stock up before the situation worsens. Number 3. Dehydrated vegetables and fruits. The market for dehydrated vegetables and fruits is facing unprecedented challenges, driving prices to alarming levels and creating supply uncertainties. Severe droughts in key agricultural regions like California and southern Spain, responsible for much of the world's fresh produce, have drastically reduced crop yields. In California alone, water restrictions and extreme heat waves have slashed production by up to 30% in 2024, leaving manufacturers with fewer raw materials to process. Compounding the issue, global supply chain disruptions are making it harder to transport dehydrated goods. Shipping costs have doubled over the past year, and energy costs for dehydration facilities have surged by 40%, forcing some smaller producers to shut down entirely. Even regions like Turkey and China, major exporters of dried fruits and vegetables, are reporting significant declines due to erratic weather and labor shortages. Wholesale prices for staples like dried mango, apples, and bell peppers have already jumped by 45%, and analysts warn that retail prices could double by February 2025. Grocery stores are beginning to limit inventory, prioritizing more profitable fresh produce over long-lasting dehydrated alternatives. Major brands are quietly cutting down on production, leaving shelves bare of popular options. If dehydrated vegetables and fruits are part of your pantry staples or emergency preparedness plans, now is the time to act. Stock up on your favorites and store them in airtight containers to extend shelf life. These nutrient-dense foods are more than a convenience. They're essential for long-term food security. Delays in recovery are expected to keep prices elevated well into 2025, making early preparation critical. Number 4. Alcohol. The global market for alcohol, particularly vodka and grain alcohol, is facing escalating challenges, driving up prices and threatening availability in the months ahead. Severe droughts across key grain-producing regions, such as the U.S. Midwest and Eastern Europe, have reduced harvests for corn, wheat, and rye, the primary ingredients for vodka and grain alcohol. In the U.S., the Department of Agriculture reports that grain yields are down 28% compared to last year, due to extreme weather and rising input costs like fertilizers, which have surged by over 45%. On a global scale, geopolitical tensions are exacerbating the situation. Major vodka exporters like Poland and Russia are experiencing supply chain disruptions, with transportation bottlenecks and soaring energy costs making production more expensive. Additionally, international trade restrictions and sanctions have limited the export of alcohol from Eastern Europe, further straining the global supply. This scarcity is already hitting consumers. Wholesale prices for vodka have risen by 30% in the last 6 months, with premium brands seeing even sharper increases. Grain alcohol, a key ingredient for disinfectants and home remedies, as well as beverages, is becoming harder to find, with some retailers rationing supplies. Distilleries are warning of potential shortages, with smaller producers unable to absorb the skyrocketing costs of grain and energy. If vodka or grain alcohol is part of your household supplies, whether for consumption, emergency preparedness, or practical uses like cleaning, now is the time to act. Stock up while prices remain somewhat stable and consider purchasing in bulk where possible. Stored in cool, dark conditions, vodka and grain alcohol can last indefinitely, making them a versatile and valuable addition to your reserves. Experts warn that these challenges could persist well into 2025, making it crucial to prepare now before prices soar even higher or supplies disappear entirely. Number 5. Paraffin wax. The global paraffin wax market is under growing strain as multiple factors converge, threatening its availability and driving up costs. Paraffin wax, a critical material for candles, waterproofing, and preservation, is facing unprecedented challenges. Major producers in China and India, which dominate the global market, are grappling with production slowdowns caused by soaring energy costs and tightening environmental regulations. In China, new policies aimed at reducing carbon emissions have forced several refineries to scale back operations, resulting in a 20% decrease in paraffin wax output. Compounding the issue, the oil industry, the primary source of paraffin wax, has been hit hard by geopolitical conflicts and fluctuating crude oil prices. With global oil supplies disrupted, the refining process has prioritized fuel production over wax extraction, creating a bottleneck in the paraffin wax supply chain. This has already led to a 35% increase in wholesale prices over the past year, with further spikes expected as demand outpaces supply. In the U.S., candle manufacturers, one of the largest consumers of paraffin wax, are already feeling the pinch. A prominent candle company recently reported a 50% rise in production costs, forcing them to scale back operations and raise retail prices. And it's not just candles. Industries reliant on paraffin wax for waterproof coatings, food preservation, and even cosmetics are scrambling to secure supplies. Some retailers have started rationing bulk wax purchases to prevent stockpiling, while smaller businesses are being priced out of the market altogether. If paraffin wax is essential for your household or business, the time to act is now. Consider purchasing bulk quantities while prices remain relatively stable. Stored properly in a cool, dry environment, paraffin wax has an indefinite shelf life, making it a practical investment for long-term use. As the supply chain struggles to recover, experts warn that shortages could extend well into late 2025, leaving those unprepared without access to this versatile and essential material. Don't wait until the shelves are empty. Secure your supply before the situation worsens. Number 6. Calcium hypochlorite. The global calcium hypochlorite market is under immense strain, threatening the availability of this crucial compound for water purification. Known for its effectiveness in sanitizing drinking water and maintaining pool hygiene, calcium hypochlorite production is facing severe disruptions. China, the largest producer, has scaled back operations by 30%, driven by energy shortages and strict environmental regulations. At the same time, the costs of raw materials like chlorine and lime have surged by 40%, pushing manufacturers to reduce output even further. The pandemic-induced surge in demand for pool shock left reserves depleted, and interest in emergency preparedness has only heightened the pressure. Many households now view calcium hypochlorite as essential for ensuring access to clean drinking water in crisis scenarios. The result? Prices have doubled in the past year, and some retailers are limiting purchases. Without intervention, this shortage could escalate, leaving families and businesses struggling to secure this vital resource. Here's the reality. Calcium hypochlorite is irreplaceable in emergency preparedness. Just 1 pound can purify thousands of gallons of water, making it invaluable for long-term safety. If you rely on this product for water purification or daily pool maintenance, now is the time to act. Secure your supply and store it in airtight containers to extend its shelf life. Waiting could mean facing soaring prices or worse, empty shelves. Protect your household and prepare for any emergency with this critical resource. Number 7. Cooking fuel tablets. Cooking fuel tablets, an essential resource for survival kits and outdoor cooking, are rapidly disappearing from shelves as supply chain disruptions worsen. These compact, high-energy tablets, critical for powering portable stoves and boiling water during emergencies, are now harder to find due to global manufacturing challenges. Key producers in Europe and Asia report significant slowdowns caused by shortages of key materials like hexamine and ethanol. Adding to the crisis, soaring energy and shipping costs are making production more expensive and limiting supply. The demand for cooking fuel tablets has skyrocketed, driven by increased awareness of emergency preparedness and a string of natural disasters over the past year. Unfortunately, this rising demand is overwhelming suppliers. Retailers are struggling to keep up, with some limiting sales or prioritizing large institutional orders over individual customers. Prices have already doubled in some areas, and industry analysts predict they could triple by spring, turning what was once a low-cost necessity into an expensive commodity. The stakes couldn't be higher. For families relying on portable stoves during power outages or disaster evacuations, these tablets are often the only reliable heat source for cooking and sterilizing water. Don't wait for the situation to worsen. Stock up on cooking fuel tablets now while they're still accessible. Properly stored, they have a long shelf life and are easy to transport, making them an indispensable addition to any emergency plan. Take action today to secure this critical resource before it's too late. Number 8. Clothing repair kits. The demand for durable clothing repair solutions is surging, with projections showing the market for repair kits reaching $1.2 billion by 2024 and expected to grow at a steady compound annual growth rate of 5%. These kits are an essential tool for extending the life of workwear, outdoor gear, and military uniforms, particularly in an era where fast fashion and disposable clothing are under scrutiny. The global textile waste crisis is escalating, with over 92 million tons discarded annually, making repair kits a crucial intervention for sustainability. Leading brands are responding to consumer demand for longevity, integrating high-strength thread, industrial-grade needles, and reinforced patches designed for heavy-duty fabrics like canvas, denim, and corduroy. Outdoor enthusiasts, laborers, and military personnel increasingly rely on these kits, ensuring their gear remains functional under extreme conditions. The rise of self-sufficiency movements and budget-conscious consumers further accelerates market growth as more people opt to repair rather than replace. Governments and organizations are also promoting repair initiatives, with incentives emerging in Europe and North America to curb textile waste. Technological advancements are shaping the industry, with innovations like ultra-durable adhesives and heat seal patches revolutionizing traditional sewing methods. The market is evolving rapidly, and those unprepared for this shift risk being left behind. As consumer priorities shift toward resilience and sustainability, heavy-duty clothing repair kits are no longer just an option. They're a necessity.